To 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 20%. Heat index values up to 105. Tonight, partly cloudy with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the evening, then mostly clear after midnight. Lows in the mid-70s. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour.
Well, Bailey and I made it out to Briers Ranch, and I tell you, sometimes it's not about the miles that you put in on a trip or how many nights you spend out in nature. It's just about finding yourself in the peace and in the quiet. And that's what we intend to do today. Bailey and I are only out here for one night, but I think it'll be just the recharge that we need. So we got camp set up, and I went ahead and assembled my fire pit. Obviously, we're not going to need that for warmth tonight, but there's just something about camp and having a fire. And so it's going to be relaxing. So I think what we're going to do is just kind of finishing up some of the little things, picking up some trash around camp. And there's not a lot, thankfully, but we'll finish that and just kind of relax a little bit. It's getting to be about 3 o'clock on Saturday now. So yeah, we'll relax and then cook up some dinner. I wanted to come out and do a little bit of exploring around the campsite. And there's like some old, I don't know if you call them trails, but maybe areas where the brush is kind of beaten down because of like cows that sometimes they have back out here. But pretty cool. Looks like they got an old dried up creek bed back there. Kind of see the Jeep back up there, but this is really I mean, if you just wanted to put one tent back here, it could be a very secluded spot. Very nice. Just something about going out, taking a hike in the woods. It's just, I don't know, just calms me. Just doing some exploring, see what you can find. There's always something neat, like these big trees, and this property is pretty unique. There's not a whole lot of pine trees out in the area where we live. And in East Texas, pine trees are abound, but we're kind of somewhere in between the hill country and East Texas. So having a few of them out here is pretty neat. Man, having a great time out here. Just gonna go kind of for a walk for a little bit, see if I can see show you guys the pasture. I camped out here one time before, July of 2024. Ron and I came out here and we stayed not far from the spot that I'm at now, but the spot that I'm at now, very shady, and it's not so thick that it won't let a breeze through. Like, it's quite comfortable. Checked the temperature a little bit ago. It's like 95 in the shade now, so it's dropping a little bit. But yeah, it's a, you know what? I can camp in any weather, and I love it. So let me know in the comments if there's anybody else that likes camping in hot weather, or if I'm just the crazy one. Surely there's got to be more like me that doesn't mind it so much. So you have to let me know. Guess I'll just kind of mosey on back to camp. And, you know, I'm not hungry, although it's nearly 5:30. I'm just nowhere close to being hungry, so I'll probably just sit down. Bailey and I will play fetch for a little longer, and maybe pop open a cold one. Maybe even film a Prop Friday, y'all. What do you think about that? I've got a new beer that I can try out here, so maybe that's good. Ooh, let me show you this cedar tree that I was talking about. What's cool about this little guy is it's a young cedar tree, but you can see how green the needles are, and it's a beautiful little tree. And I hope it matures and stays a long time. And here's kind of a shot of camp, like a wide shot. You see Bailey over there by Prospector. Yeah, I think we picked a good one. I'm real happy with it. There's just something special about being out here. I love it. Call me crazy, but this is where I disconnect. I was able to kind of relax a little bit this afternoon. I listened to a podcast by Max Lucado. I've listened to some music. I've just kind of reflected on life, where I'm at, the things that are important to me, what I want to focus on, and everything just comes into focus when I come out here. And that's what I love most about it. I think that everybody has something that they connect to in a stronger sense than others. And when you find that, you can really get some peace in your life. That's what it's all about. Cheers to that. I guess it's probably about time that we go ahead and light this fire so we can get some smoke going, so we can kind of keep the bug population down. Not too bad right now. Y'all, don't judge me, but whenever I left the house today, Heather texted me when I was almost here and said, "Hey, you left your beans at home." So unfortunately, all I've got to eat tonight is pork chops. So we're going to season up 3 of these bad boys, and I'm just going to have straight protein tonight, which is that's okay. I was going to have some ranch style beans, but we'll make this work. It'll be just fine. Let's go ahead and get these puppies on. Well, I got Bailey situated on her food, so now it's time to try my pork chop. But first, let's go ahead and bless our meal. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you so much for this time out here. Thank you for keeping me safe. Please watch over Heather and Little Bear while I'm gone and help me return safely to them. Thank you for all of my many blessings. Forgive me of all of my sins. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, it's time to try this pork chop out. Now, I was smart this time because it's so hard to cut it while I'm just sitting here. I went ahead and pre-cut it. I don't know what it is about cooking on that little cast iron griddle / grill, but the flavor is unbeatable. How was your dinner, baby? Was it good? Did you have a good dinner too? Was your kibble tasty? I'm just going to chide down and enjoy this, guys. Man, what an amazing dinner that was. Just the fire going, the sounds of nature out here. This is the perfect place. And encouragement can come from the quietest places. My wife, Heather, is that encouragement for me. She encourages me on this YouTube channel. She encourages me in my work. She encourages me in my faith, in my home life. And she is a strong pillar that I lean on. And without her, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. Faithfulness is more than just showing up for the easy things. It's choosing to trust, love, and encourage every single day. And she does that every single day. I'm reminded of a couple of Bible verses, and I've pulled them up so I can read them to you. This first verse comes from Proverbs 31, 10 through 11. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Then another verse is Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 10. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. And that's how it is. My dad once told me whenever I was getting married, a lot of you don't know, this is my second marriage. And my dad told me that to be successful in marriage, one person has to carry the other when the other person's feeling weak, and vice versa. And I believe that to be true. There are times where maybe I'm feeling down. Well, Heather's the one that can build me up. And the same is said for her. Sometimes she's feeling down, and I know it's my job, it's her husband, to build her up and help her. And I know that she's the one that you don't ask the question, can I live the rest of my life with her? The question is, can I live the rest of my life without her? Now, Lord forbid anything happen to either her or I, but I think the point to be made is there's a different perspective from one of those to the other, and she is the one that I just can't see not having in my life. So, as today's Faith in Firepits comes to a close, I hope that you guys have a great night. And I'm going to sit here and enjoy this fire and some reflective time. If you guys made it this far in the video so far, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, maybe even click that notification bell so you're notified every time that I have new videos up. So I'd also love to hear your comments. It doesn't have to be about camping or anything like that. It just has to be like, where do you connect? Some people it's, yard work is therapeutic. You go out, you mow the yard, you weed eat, you edge, you do all the things. Other people, it's in a garage working on their vehicles. And so I'm just curious. Drop a line in the comments and let me know, where do you feel the most peace? What is your therapeutic go-to for you to reset yourself? Obviously, we've talked about it many times. This is where I do it. I'm crazy doing it in the middle of August, right? But it's just something about it. Whenever I was growing up, we did a hunting trip. Every first weekend in October was the opening of squirrel season. So my cousins, my dad, my uncles, my grandfather would all get together and we'd go squirrel hunting for the opening weekend of squirrel season. And that's kind of where I fell in love with camping, because we'd all just go out in the middle of the woods and camp and just have a good time. It was cold, it was rainy, but those times around the fire where we just laughed and told stories and kind of picked and poked at each other a little bit, not bullying, social norming, those are the times that stick out in my mind. And there's still there's still something that happened to me. One day I'll tell you guys, it's really funny. When I was about 12 years old, and my uncle reminds me of that every time I go and see him. But yeah, that's where it started for me. So now I can come out into the woods, bring my dog, and just connect with nature and just reset. And there's nothing better. Like right now, there's just such a level of calm right now. And, this is just about as good as it gets for me. Sometimes I don't know if I'm ready to go back tomorrow or Monday into the world that awaits us with all the problems, whenever you can come out here and just let it all go. I'm also curious to know if you bring your dogs out camping with you. I'm pretty lucky. Like, Bailey is a really good travel dog, and she loves it when I'm out camping. Sometimes I'll go out, like in September, I have to go out of town for work, and whenever I go out of town that's not camping, she gets real antsy. Like, she knows I'm leaving and packing for a trip, and she's not going, and it drives her crazy. But come out in a place like this, she didn't care how long it takes to get there. She's traveled 4+ hours with me in the Jeep to go somewhere before. She doesn't whine. She doesn't complain. She is content. And she loves it out here. So very fortunate to have a dog that loves this as much as I do. Well, I think it's time for me to turn in and hit the sack. I just kind of came into the tent and I got my fan all situated, and I'm going to climb in the bed. I'll see you guys in the morning for some coffee. Good morning, everybody. Hope you slept well last night. I did. It was a little hot, you know, and it's to be expected when you're in the middle of August in Texas. But nevertheless, this trip was just what we needed to reset and kind of get our mind right. Sometimes these trips at camp, they just hit the spot. But we'll have to pack up camp soon and head it back to the house. It was interesting last night. Everything was dead calm, dead quiet. I didn't hear any coyotes. I didn't hear many birds chirping. Just heard a few bugs. But what I started to hear in the middle of the night last night, probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, was this deep bellowing of the cows off in the distance. And my mind just kind of adjusted to that, and it became my lullaby. So I was sang to sleep by the cows last night. There are worse ways to go to sleep. I tell you, it's going to be tough to leave this spot. It's a good one. Plenty of shade. But responsibilities call. packing up is always one of the saddest moments at camp because you just want to stay and enjoy it, especially on these one-nighters, but I'm so thankful I got to come out here anyway. Let's finish packing up. My next gear in 60 should probably be about that little trash can because it is so handy to have. You can just fill your liner in it, fill it up, and then whenever you're ready to go to pack your stuff out, it's easy. You can see how this trash can just collapses out. I mean, collapses down very easily. And it's just got these little button clips on it that hold it in place, and it's easily stowable. I usually kind of stash it behind the cab in between the tote. Well, it looks like we're all packed up, which is good. Heather and Little Bear waiting for me to get home so we can go to church. So we get this tent loaded up, and then we'll kind of make our way out of here and wrap up camp. Well, we're heading back out to the entrance of the camp, and this was just such a relaxing night of camping, and I just had a lot of fun. It's just sometimes it's just good to get out and reset. So like I said last night, if however you reset, I encourage you, hit that reset button every so often because you need it. One tip I was going to recommend as we're kind of making our way out of here is that when I pulled into camp yesterday, I was taking it really slow. And because when you're driving through the woods, sometimes there's going to be old tree stumps that are kind of small and they stick up right out of the ground and they can catch your sidewall. They can even puncture your tire. And I happened to notice when I parked yesterday, I've missed one by like 3 inches. But I was going slow enough that had I hit it, it probably just would have stopped me. But just food for thought as you're going around exploring. You always want to be aware of potential hazards because you get out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a way to change your tire or something like that. You'd be really stuck. I mean, obviously I've got the spare and full-size spare and everything, but something to think about. Thanks everybody for riding along with me and tuning in this week. I really appreciate it. Please make sure that if you made it this far, you hit that like button, you hit subscribe, and you click that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And just a reminder, I do have a podcast that goes out every other Tuesday. So basically weeks that I don't upload long form videos, that's when the podcast goes out. And I have a newsletter that goes out every single Sunday. It talks about gear reviews, faith, spirituality, and even some funny camping trips. So I hope to see you down the trail or around the campfire.